Welcome to Bourbon Reviews, the podcast where we uncork the stories and flavors behind some of the best bourbon on the market. I'm Alec.
And I'm Sam. Each week, we take a closer look at one bottle of bourbon, sometimes two, to uncover what makes it special for the average bourbon collector.
From its history to its flavor profile and everything in between, we'll help you decide whether it deserves a spot on your shelf. So, pour yourself a glass, sit back, and let's dive in. For today's inaugural episode, we're starting strong with not just one, but two versions of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Bourbon. We'll be comparing batch A124 with batch B524.
And this is an exciting one for us because we were inspired to pick these up after we tried the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C923, which was named Bourbon of the Year in 2023. Experiencing that bottle showed us just how special this lineup can be, so we had to dive in deeper.
Sam and I actually had a fun experience trying that bottle for the first time together at one of our favorite bars called The Final Third, which is in Fishers, Indiana. And if you've ever have the opportunity, be sure to get on there because they're a great spot. But before we dive into the tasting, let's break down what makes a bourbon or a whiskey barrel proof.
Great idea. A barrel-proof whiskey is bottled straight from the bottle without any dilution. That means no additional water is added to lower the alcohol content, so you're getting the full-strength whiskey as it came from the barrel. It's a bold, flavorful, and let's be honest, it's usually not for the faint of heart.
Just a little bit about Heaven Hill Distilleries. Heaven Hill Distilleries Incorporated is a private American family-owned and operated distillery founded in 1935, which is at the end of Prohibition. And it's headquartered in Bardstown, Kentucky, which is widely known as the motherland of bourbon. And it produces and markets the Heaven Hill brand of Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys and a variety of other distilled spirits, including Elijah Craig.
Another big selling point for Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is the price point. At around $70 a bottle, it's incredible value for a barrel proof bourbon, especially when you compare it to similar products from other distilleries that often cost twice as much or more. That's a big reason why these bottles are so sought after by collectors.
That's so true. Especially whenever you can find a barrel proof whiskey that comes in under $100, it's a rare find, and these are difficult to come by. I was actually able to source these two bottles through my relationship with the employees at Dave's Fine Wine and Spirits in Whitestown, Indiana, by where I live. And only by building that connection with the staff and owner at that store was I able to come into owning rare bourbons like these. And that's just kind of a reminder of how important relationships are in the bourbon world. When you establish trust and loyalty within these store owners and these communities, it often opens a lot of doors to these exclusive bottles that otherwise you'd never find on the shelf.
That's a great point, Alec. And for anyone who's just getting into bourbon collecting, you can't underestimate the power of getting to know your local liquor store owners and staff. It can make the difference of finding the next bottle that you're really looking for or just getting what's standard and issued on the shelf normally.
Yeah, and speaking of differences, let's take a moment to compare Elijah Craig's small batch with the barrel proof versions. The small batch in particular is bottled at a consistent 94 proof and is typically only aged 8 to 12 years, and it's a mixture of those ages. This is their flagship product, which provides a more approachable and mellow experience to bourbon drinking. On the other hand, the barrel proof releases vary in proof, often exceeding 120 proof, 60% alcohol, and they showcase whiskey in its purest form. No dilution, no chill filtering. It's a totally different experience from drinking your over-the-shelf bourbon.
And that's a really important point right there. The small batch is perfect for those that are new to bourbon, while the barrel proof versions cater to those who want to experience bold, unfiltered flavors. Both have their place, but the barrel proof definitely offers a more intense and layered experience.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Sam. So now let's move to the fun part of this podcast. Tell us about the two batches we'll be tasting today.
Absolutely. Batch A124 was released in January 2024 and comes in at 119 proof. Meanwhile, batch B524, released in May 2024, clocks in at a fiery 130.6 proof.
Oh my God.
Both are uncut and unfiltered, as always with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. But the question is, which one will come out on top in our blind tasting?
And that's exactly what we're here to find out. We've had Sam's fiance, Emily, pour us 2 glasses and label them just A and B. One of them is the A124, and the other one is the B524. We don't know which one is which, and we're going to go ahead and take a moment, nose and sample these glasses, and we'll be right back to share our thoughts. All right, Sam, let's hear your thoughts on Glass A.
So Glass A is really interesting. It's not too spicy on the nose, but I got a lot of caramel and oak with a little hint of dark chocolate. The palate is rich with notes of toffee, cinnamon, and a little bit of nuttiness. I would say the finish is really, really long on this one. It stays with you for many, many seconds after you finish. I would say I still feel it, and I sipped it probably 15, 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, I'd say Glass A really burns the tongue, not in a dissatisfying way, but it lingers on the tongue for a lot longer than Glass B does. It's got good flavors. I'd say I'm picking up on brown sugar, vanilla, and then that transitions into that like almost rice spice flavor, which I really enjoy. But I'd say probably a 8, 9 out of 10.
It's really good.
It's really, really good. And so I'm saying things like burn and other notes, but I'd say this is a really good whiskey. But before we reveal which ones are which, what do you think about Glass B, Sam?
So Glass B is quite different. The nose is more subdued with hints of dried fruit. I also got notes of leather. It's darker. It's got a little bit of tobacco in it as well. And the finish is still a decent length, but much, much shorter than Glass A.
And I have to agree with you. I think Glass B, for me, I'm going to go back in. Yeah, I think Glass B has some maltiness to it. It's definitely got those leathery notes. What I'm shocked about is that both of these are not low-proof whiskeys at all. And Glass B does not hurt to drink like Glass A does for whatever reason. And I'm really interested to see which one is the higher proof because I'm thinking it's Glass A based off the taste that I'm getting right now. What do you think, Sam?
Off of pure taste alone, I would think that Glass A is the higher proof of the two bourbons. Glass B, just because of the shorter finish, and I think a lot of the notes that we got, I would think is probably the 119 proof.
Yeah. And just by the way, we're tasting these in Glencairns on Sam's countertop table while drinking them neat. And once again, it's a blind tasting. We don't know which ones are which. But let's get to the big reveal. Which one is your favorite, Sam?
It's a really tough call, but I think I'm leaning towards Glass B. It's got a lot of depth, a lot of different flavors, and I really like the shorter finish that I experienced with this one.
I'd have to agree. I think if I were to reach for any of these and then enjoy drinking a full glass of it, Glass B would give me a better experience, whereas Glass A might offer maybe a better pairing. It's not a bad whiskey, and me preferencing Glass B over it doesn't mean that I wouldn't buy this bottle again. However, I just say Glass B tastes special to me.
Yeah,
it's
I
honestly
completely
special.
agree.
From all of the whiskeys I've been able to taste in my life, I'd say it could stand up to many of them, and if not all of them, because it has complexity of flavor, as well as it's very, very drinkable, and it's from a great distillery like Elijah Craig. So either of these are going to be a great choice. So let's find out which batch is which.
Drum roll, please.
So Glass A is
batch A124.
And Glass B is B524. And like I said before, both are fantastic pours, but today batch B524 takes the win for us.
Which is really exciting. We were kind of surprised by this result because the batch B524 actually tasted like the lower proof of the two, but it's still at that fiery 130.6 proof. So this is a really high percentage alcohol pour.
Seriously, Sam, I was just so shocked I had to just pick up the bottle and look at it again because it's definitely 130.6 proof. 65.3% alcohol, which I'm pretty sure it would hold a flame.
Yeah. It would hold a flame.
And it's 11 years old in 2 months. The age statement is on the bottle. In this, the body on this, I wouldn't even say it's a short body. It just, the flavor it has no unpleasantness to it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about it. It's incredibly pleasant. And both of these, I'd say the A124 might pair better with like a cigar if you're looking for like a bold drinking experience.
Yes.
But in terms of having a high proof whiskey that you would drink every single day of the week, this B524 is really good. Not to say that you should, because this stuff is kind of hard to find. All of these things are subjective, and we appreciate for you taking the time to listen to us talk about these things today. So, without further ado, thank you all so much for listening to this bourbon podcast of Official Bourbon Reviews with Alec
and Sam.
Hope to see you next week. Take care and good afternoon.